What's up, guys? It's us. We're back.
Hi, hello.
Guess who graduated college?
This bitch! Yes!
Yeah.
It's been a hot second. It's been like 2 months since we recorded. I think I've had like 2 different hair colors since then.
Yeah.
So
I've had like 2 different men's since then.
Men's.
I'm stealing all the men's and
All
I've
of them.
cycled through 2.
So
Yes,
we are back and we are talking about what everyone else is talking about right now.
Extremely. What a fucking. It's
I keep on wanting to say
extremely evil. No, extremely
evil, incredibly evil,
wicked and vile.
No, extremely wicked, incredibly vile.
No, it's vile at the very end.
Okay, extremely wicked, incredibly evil, and
vile.
Yes, there we go. So we're talking about that today.
Yeah, it's extremely wicked, shockingly evil.
Shockingly
evil and vile.
Extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile. We prepared for this video, right? So we're gonna be talking about that one, which is, if you don't know what it is, if you're watching this, you probably know what it is.
Yeah.
Is the new movie on Ted Bundy, but in the perspective of Liz, his like long-term girlfriend.
Liz Kleopher / Kendall. Because that's her name when she actually wrote the book that this is based on, like her memoir. I don't think it's called Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile. I think that's just based off of what
the judge said,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Which, let's talk about that scene, but the first thing we're gonna do is watch the trailer and like talk about that a little bit and some of the stuff that was going on when that released, and then we're gonna talk about the movie and how we feel now that we've seen it.
Yes, mommy.
That guy's been staring at you all night.
What do you say we get out of here?
What is it about this guy when I feel his love?
Okay. First of all. I'm just like simultaneously like daddy, but I'm also just like, he's fucking Ted Bundy anyway. We can continue.
Well, that's
on.
the whole point.
It's
but we
terrifying.
can come back to that.
Oh
but that also is the point.
I feel like I'm on top of the world.
There are things you don't know.
Hi, officer.
I kind of feel like this trailer goes through the entire plot line, though. I mean,
totally
everyone
does.
knows the plot line,
It
so it's
totally
not a big
does.
deal, but it really does.
I think I must be lost.
That will shock you beyond your worst nightmare. This garbage to you?
There are more,
all the
there's
papers,
more
Ted.
rock music in the actual, right? Yeah, I want more like.
How did his name get on that suspect list?
She did it!
I want to come see you.
Oh, he
was
looks
really
a
hoping
lot
you'd say
like
that.
him. Yeah, it's weird.
This case is about catching a monster.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I only see him as Sheldon. Because he still talks just like Sheldon.
It's unsettling.
I love him.
The media has convicted Ted before he's had his day in court.
I'm Gary.
God, and the girl who plays Kellyanne Boone. What's her name? Kaya Scaladario. She did so good, too.
Did you do these things?
Absolutely not.
I love that pause. That's genius. That's genius acting.
Let's get back to plotting my escape here.
I love that. Did you do this? Absolutely not. That's so good.
I think they did the really good on the trailer. You know, there was some controversy.
Yeah, there was
about
huge
it.
controversy because he kind of seems like a rock star.
That's the point.
Yeah, he was a rock star in a sense. Like, women fell all over him.
Yeah.
And were essentially like, he's innocent because he's good looking.
I think that portraying him as very in-your-face creepy is also kind of disrespectful to his victims.
Yeah, I agree with
because that then it makes it seem like, wow, he was so creepy. Why did they fall for that? Like, how could they do that? You know, how could they be so dumb? Which is not true at all. He was predatory.
No, he's
very
terrifying.
creepy.
The thing that's terrifying about Ted Bundy is he's good looking.
Yeah.
The thing that's terrifying about Ted Bundy is he's charming as hell.
Yeah.
Some of the cool things, I don't know if you had done that, but like watching some of the, at the very end, they show you comparison clips of Ted Bundy and like what actually was filmed.
Yes.
And Zac Efron's portrayal. And I think that's really important that they took almost stuff verbatim.
Oh, it was so creepy.
And even some of the stuff where I was like, there's no way that he actually said that because that's too like Hollywood, too like glamorized. He says exactly that. And I feel like that kind of glamorous quality is something he's going for.
Oh, I mean, that whole scene outside the courtroom whenever they're reading his conviction or whatever, and he's like, oh yes, what did they do? Oh,
I actually thought that was like so funny.
No, I mean, he
I
did
was
it
like,
so well, too.
That's brilliant. Like his whole like just like, tell me what it says.
Yeah.
Let me talk to the media. And the guy's like stupidly like, no, don't talk to the media.
Yeah.
Which is a dumb call. But I love him being all like, you won't let me talk to the media.
And it's so funny because he seems so like rehearsed when he's saying that and stuff that you're like, you could almost believe it's just Zac Efron acting, but no, Ted Bundy looked that ridiculous as he was doing it.
He looked so stupid.
Yeah.
Well, and like the thing that's the critical mistake, I was watching it with my dad. No, I was watching it with my brother, and he's a lawyer. And my brother was like, it's such a mistake to not have let him talk, like, to the media. Yes, he's charming, and I think they knew that, which was their rationale probably for not letting him. But he's such an idiot. Yeah. Like, let him...
Well, that's why then Carol Ann Boone was able to be like, well, they're not letting him talk to anyone, you know, and then they were able to play that whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. There was no way to make him not look like he was somehow being penalized by the system.
Oh, yeah. And there was that one part before he breaks out in Colorado, that whole interview that he does, he has the beard and stuff, and his eyebrows and his eyes look just like Ted Bundy in that clip, and I was very put off by that. I was like, oh, I don't like that. But, like, in a good way because he did it so well.
Yeah. So let's talk, like...
And we should also talk about Lily Collins.
That's who I was going to say. Let's talk about this in the terms of, like, Liz Kleopher / Liz Kendall. Like, what do we think that this did? Because for me, I know we've talked about this. I thought this was a really respectful portrayal, even though the trailer was not totally positively received. Like, I think it was actually incredibly respectful because it was totally from her perspective.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was lovingly done from her perspective. And I think Lily Collins killed it.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole thing, too, is because it's from Liz's perspective, her perspective on him, you know, almost till the very end was she was in love with him because of how charming he was. And she was in love with the idea of them, you know, getting a house and a dog and, like, someone to take care of her daughter. And she was in love with this whole thing, you know, the whole vision of it.
And, like, I think this is the 1970s, 60s? I can't remember.
70s.
Yeah, it is 1970. I think something that's important is she's a single mother. And I think at the time, I mean, even today, single mothers are heavily stigmatized, but more so then. And I think she was super charmed by this good-looking guy who wanted to be a lawyer. He was a law student.
Kind, polite.
Who's like, I'll help you raise your kid.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here for you. Your kid doesn't put me off. Isn't that, like, one of the first scenes? That she's like, she's saying, literally like, I have a kid. I'm so sorry. And he's just like, who cares?
Yeah, well, and she's also like, who's gonna want to date, you know, someone with a kid, like a secretary, single mom with a kid, and he wanted to date a single secretary, you know, single mom with a kid.
And he's, like, good looking and charming and, like, the perfect man. So it's like, I'm sure she felt like she didn't want that dream to be, like, crushed in any way.
Zac Efron does a good job of this, too, of portraying Ted's kind of manipulative side where he starts being like, promise me you'll never leave me. And then like calling and then being like, you won't leave me, right? Like, you're holding out hope, right? Like, wink, wink, right? You are, right? And like literally backing her into a corner and like, what is she supposed to do? She promised him these things. And
like, this is a guy, again, who it's like, up until this point has been good for you.
Yeah.
Who has been like this great provider in some ways, like whatever.
Even up until the point of him being like convicted of these things, she still didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because she was like, it's Ted. Especially this guy who you had shared a bed with, you were engaged to, who had shared a house with your very young daughter, and he was convicted of, you know, raping and killing. Is it Kimberly Leach, the really, really young one?
Yeah, I
think so.
Also, another thing, speaking of victims, I think part of the reason the film is so respectful is because it includes a list of victims at the end.
I loved how they didn't just like put it up on screen for a few seconds. They put it up on screen for a good bit of time, so you could like really like read the names and soak in like, oh, this is a lot of women.
This is
a lot of girls.
women.
And I did appreciate that.
There's names that, like, we they're still unidentified body, like, murders that we know he committed.
I hate that.
They don't have names yet, and that I think that's pretty difficult, too. That it's like we have a list of victims, but it's totally incomplete.
Yeah.
And
Well, and there's also no way, because he did so much traveling for his job and for the campaign and stuff, like New York, like all over the country.
I was
There's
surprised they
no
didn't
way.
get into that. His like interesting.
Well, because it was from her perspective. So.
Yeah, and she would have never. But I also think it's interesting they didn't get into his like his victim type. Being,
Yeah,
like, which
they also didn't get into his relationship with the one girl.
the woman he dated before Elizabeth Kleopher. Her name is actually Diane Edwards, but she goes by Stephanie Brooks. Yeah.
They didn't mention her at all, which there was some like overlap between Liz and Stephanie. So I would have loved to have seen more of like that perspective. You know, it was from Liz's perspective, and I think they did a really good job with it. But I kind of there was some times where I wish that it was more from Liz's, even more so. You know what I mean? Because of that whole thing, and then like I know that there was some overlap between Carol Ann and her, that they knew about each other and like their coexistence in Ted's life. So I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of that aspect.
I'm also curious about how like I don't like her from the movie, but I think that's part of the reason I'm curious.
Carol
like,
Ann? Or?
Yeah. I'm curious how Carol Ann would respond to this movie. I'm curious how like she would view it, because like at the end of the day, she's also a manipulated victim.
Oh, for sure. He said the exact same things to her as he did to Liz.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And for me, that's the only thing that feels kind of wrong about the film, is that she is made out to be this
more
kind
obsessive.
of scary.
Yeah.
And maybe she was, but like I would like to see more on that.
Well,
like,
she had been maybe perhaps manipulated even before he manipulated Liz, because that's why she found him and wherever, you know, and like sought him out whenever he was going through all this, was because he had made some kind of impression or led her on to some degree for her to be able to try to come back into his life like that.
Yeah.
And I would definitely argue that she was more obsessive, maybe she was more impressionable than Liz, but he said the exact same things and treated her the exact same way that he treated Liz.
No, and that's the scary
and so
part.
she's a victim too.
So it's like, because it didn't focus so much on Liz's perspective, even though it is totally from her perspective, but we do have moments of Ted, which I feel like we could have cut out.
That was the thing, is because they kept on like showing the courtroom scenes, which were well done and stuff, but it was always like, and then it showed her like watching the TV or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I would have loved to have seen her more, not just lying on the couch crying about him and stuff, because like, yeah,
I think that is what she did though.
Oh, I'm sure that's what she did.
Her alcoholism.
Yeah. Not that I'm saying that I wish those parts weren't in there, because that is likely exactly what happened when you're dealing with shit like that. You just want to sit home and cry on the couch
and watch it happen.
But I would have loved to have seen her process a little bit more.
I would have,
and a little less Ted.
Yeah.
That's like really my only complaint. I think it was all well done with what they did.
I agree.
But that's like my only
and
complaint.
my only complaint would be, if we're going to expand past Liz's perspective, then it's like I would have liked to see more
Carol Ann?
A little bit. Like I felt kind of uncomfortable with that portrayal, not because of Kai Scolario. She seems like she did a great job. But Scolario,
well, she looked just like Carol Ann too.
Terrifying.
Like I think as soon as she went on, I was like, oh fuck, it's Carol Ann.
She's a like real beautiful, real sexy woman, like out of like character, and not that Carol Ann's not sexy, not that she's not beautiful,
but the character that she was playing looks very different from her IRL.
Wildly different.
Crazy. But like as soon as she was on screen, I was like, whoa! Also, like literally, she looks just like the picture.
All these British actors coming up with pretty good American accents. Like, American accents are difficult, and like especially like Northwest accents are pretty difficult to like.
And I just like, I'm such a big fan of Lily Collins ever since my young soul saw her in Mortal Instruments. And also while we're here, let's talk about her Met Gala outfit, because I think she was gorgeous. Like I really think she was one of my favorite outfits the entire time.
She looks like a silly little fairy Barbie doll.
Oh, let's talk about this.
Who is she? What is that hair?
It's like beehive hair, right?
Oh my god, that makeup.
I love her so much.
I wish Zac Efron had gone just as Ted Bundy. And he's like, Cam!
Just like in the striped sweater that he wore, and just be like, everyone's uncomfortable.
like this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
They're like, this is very bad, very bad.
And like, I think Zac Efron was a perfect pick, because
I think he did really good.
He's like a teenage dreamboat still, and I think like if you want to do Ted Bundy,
Teenage Dreamboat.
Yeah, he's a teenage dreamboat.
He did really good.
And I was impressed. He scared me a lot.
He creeped me out. Like, he creeped me out a couple times because he looks just like him.
Real fast, one thing. If you can't watch anything else, watch the judge scene where he essentially says, like, you'd have made a great lawyer. Because
that was rough.
I had always heard that, I'd always heard of that happening. I kind of understand it more now. Because I'm like, oh, the judge didn't actually like him. No. It's not like the judge was coming at this from a, like, oh, like, I love you, man. But it was definitely...
From a sad perspective. And he's
but it also... that's hard. Because it is true that it's like, what a waste of life. But also, who fucking cares?
Right. I think that I'm glad you brought that scene up. Because that was honestly a rough scene to watch. Because, I mean, they very rarely do you see such direct eye contact for prolonged periods of time, and then you see the emotions in his eyes going and stuff like that, and you almost feel bad for him because Zac Efron's a good actor. You don't, but like,
that's the entire movie. Is I spend so much time being like, poor guy, and it's like, but no,
but that's exactly how it should have been. Yeah, and I said at the beginning, but if they had portrayed him as straight up like a monster, which he was, but if they had portrayed him as like actively visually like a monster, that's not right, because that's not what he was. But that last scene was hard to watch because it was just like he had in Ted's brain, he had worked so hard to keep his freedom and, you know, keep his own reputation, which was everything to him. His own ego was everything to him. And it didn't work out, you know. But like I think that last scene was a really, really good scene.
No, and it's humbling. And I think that was kind of the cool thing, is they did portray it as like a humbling of this man who had like spent his entire life thinking he was smarter than everyone else.
Yeah. And then he still got stumped, you know.
It's like he wasn't smarter than everyone else. The judge saw through it.
Yeah, exactly.
And like it's kind of, I think that's really powerful.
I wish I wish that they had kept the part. I was so ready for tell the jury that they're wrong. I wanted that to happen so badly, because that's what Ted did.
What?
You didn't know about this?
No.
Oh, wait, I might be able to find like a GIF for you, because he goes, as soon as they read the jury, like the conviction out, he goes, well, tell the jury that they're wrong.
Wait, there has to be a video of this.
Yes, I'm sure there is.
It's rare Ted Bundy.
It's ridiculous.
Bundy sat with his back to the judge during the reading of the recommendation. Then, one last outburst as the jury was being released.
He's so fucking dumb.
Tell the jury
that they're wrong. I wanted them to put
Leaves, walks out, judge goes, that's cool, but you're still gonna fry.
Yeah. So. I wanted them to put that in the movie so badly, but they didn't. I guess probably for a good thing. It probably was a good thing, because that makes me laugh every time I see that.
Tell the jury that they're wrong.
Like,
fucking
so
idiot.
Dumb.
Do we want to do like a rating? Like, how would we rate this film?
Oh, I'm so bad at rating things.
If we did it out of 5 skulls.
I would say a solid 4 skulls for me. What would you say?
Like a 3.5, 4 skulls.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3.5, so 3.7 skulls.
3.75 skulls.
Like I thought they did great with the casting. I thought all the actors did an amazing job. Genuinely, they did really good. My only complaint was like, I'd love to see even more of the conflict with Liz and other characters.
Yeah,
that's my
I agree.
Specifically Stephanie Brooks and Caroline Boone, because there was overlap with both of them.
Also, like, Stephanie Brooks would be such an interesting person to see this from. I know that she's essentially been like very, very quiet.
Oh yeah, understandably.
But I would love to like have, if we have any kind of perspective, like maybe something from her, because I feel like talking about victims that aren't dead is something that's actually really important. And like, I think we forget about I think we forget about those victims too. Yeah. Because obviously it's a different kind of victim status. Yeah. Rightfully, I think like losing your life and being sexually assaulted is very different than being manipulated in that kind of way. But at least, I mean, it is still victimhood. And she came out of it like on top, essentially, which is really amazing.
Yes, girl. So official Lady Killers review 3.75 skulls for extremely loud and incredibly close. That's what I keep on thinking It is. Every time that's
Yeah,
why
the 9/11 film slash book. That's what we're really talking about. I love Jonathan Safran Foer.
I sobbed whenever I read that book.
It's so good.
Extremely wicked.
No.
Okay, we got this. No. Extremely wicked.
loud.
Extremely wicked.
Inhumanly vile. No.
No. Incredibly no.
Extremely wicked. Shockingly evil and vile. Well, I hate that title. I'm gonna be honest, I hate that
I
title.
love the title. I don't like having to remember it. I think it's a clever title, but it makes me feel dumb every time.
Shockingly evil and vile.
Oh my god, anyways.
Anyway, 3.75 skulls
Yes.
out of 5.
Would have got a 3.8 if they had kept tell the jury that
That would have been a 4 skull.
a 4 skull.
4 skulls. If they had.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you like this, let us know.
Yes.
All of our socials are down below. Make sure to follow us on every fucking thing.
All of it.
Make accounts if you don't have accounts. Go. And leave a comment. It's nice to see y'all. Bye.
Bye.